Hello, this is Roach, and welcome back. I'm in a hole. But I'm not in a hole because I'm scared of anything. I'm in a hole because I'm stress testing something. So let's sleep and see if it's still working. Well, first of all, I hear zombie villagers here, which is not a great sign. Oh boy. Alright, well, we're gonna have to deal with that in a little bit. So let's give these guys something to hold. And these guys are looking just terrifying at the moment. It makes me wonder whether or not this thing has been working at all. We did some stress testing, so let's turn this guy off. I believe this is working, just it is not. Ooh, I wonder how long. Oh, that's an issue. Well, it looks like I need to put an item filter in line with this, which means I'm gonna have to move all of this out. A little bit of a pain, but not a huge deal here. It does make me wonder how long it's been like this, though. But this doesn't seem to have broken, which is always a good sign. Yeah, so this seems to be working fine, which is a good sign. I hear villagers in there, which is great. That is also fantastic. So let's let's kill a couple of these guys and then get back to it. Now, it does make me wonder if this is still working, just given the fact that there were so many over here. But I think once this gets taken care of, these guys should be fine. And ultimately, this is kind of a good thing. It forces me to work on some brewing stands and that sort of thing. So we will deal with that. This does seem to be working. Now the other question is this working? It does. It does seem to be. So I had cleared out this, and it does seem to be slowly filling it up. Somehow we've created a little bit of paper. As always, we have a metric ton of gunpowder. A metric ton of gunpowder. Okay. Alright, well, there we go. Bone blocks. Okay. Okay. That's a good sign. I don't know how many of those I've done. So, I think... Oh. Oh, this is a problem. Alright, so I'm going to take out actually all of these. Just so that this becomes... Oh. There we go. So we'll disconnect that. And then let's go ahead and get this in here. Because I believe, I mean, this has worked fairly well. It's not what I would call perfect. Now I do wonder why the wood... It's because it's full. Okay, so I should have extended that a fair bit, it looks like. I don't know why I only did one thing of that. But that's perfectly fine. So I'll also need to make... Maybe I'll make this guy another wood and push it down. Because I think... Yeah, I think that's just what I need to do. But we are slowly but surely getting there. And, I mean, even this seems to be working fine. So what I've done with this is I've changed up how the timing system works. which that I find very interesting. I don't know why it's doing that specifically, so we'll have to figure that out. Basically, the idea is that as the sun goes across, this should only trigger once a day, because that's a sunlight indicator, but maybe because of this, it's messing it up. I don't really know, but we'll have to figure that out. But either way, it does seem to work just fine. Definitely not what I would call perfect, but just fine. So let's go ahead and fix some of these. I have to fix that as well. Ooh, we are having an issue here. So the stress test doesn't seem to have worked very well, so let's go ahead and get this all figured out. So I think that at the very least temporarily has fixed my problems. Again, definitely not perfect at the moment. Actually, very imperfect at the moment, but you know, that's fine. I think I'm gonna have to rework all of this, and I'm gonna need to rework this guy here just to create a little item filter, because otherwise it does basically what you just saw. Eventually, little pieces work their way through the glass and into my crafter here, which I do not want. So I think if I create an item filter right here, which I wonder if I can do that up next to this, or will that be affected? I'm not sure, but we're going to give it a shot, because I believe once I do that, that kind of solves the issue. Eventually I will get a piece or two that is just getting kind of stuck on top of the hopper and not doing anything, but I believe that will just eventually despawn. So that is perfectly fine. But all of this to say, I mean, not perfect, once again, but I think this is generally what we want here. So let's see about decorating some of this, and I will be right back. And after quite a bit of work, I have made some serious progress to the interior of this build, and we're starting to see it right here. Basically, I want this to be very moody. Maybe even I need to take some of these away. So the only way I'm going to be lighting it is using the glow lichen. Just because I kind of like the look of it. It gives a little bit extra texture, and it almost feels like it's something unnatural that's growing on these walls. And the unnaturalness is actually all stemming, ultimately this is not finished here, but it's all stemming from this. So let's take a look at a time lapse of me building this. Of course, once again, the flooring here isn't done. I need to put in a couple of modules here, just for really shulker unloaders, as well as I need to fill in back behind, because otherwise, all of the lighting work that I've done is for naught. But this was generally the view that I was looking for, and ultimately, I think I might need to make this a little bit shorter and put light sources farther down. Or maybe I could use light sources like this. Ooh, that's a thought. But anyways, ultimately, I kind of want this to almost be growing straight up. Because I've been trying to think of the story, really, behind this whole area. And I think the story is all going to hinge on, well, this little area that I had started to build over here. Specifically, oops, I went the wrong direction. But specifically, not this one, but the more futuristic looking little bunker area right there. Because I think I want to make that almost like an industrial zone for this city that I'll build here. But I want to make it make sense as to why only one part of that is modern and the other isn't. I want there to be a problem, and I think that problem is going to center truly around this industrial zone. I mean, I think it'd be hard to find somebody who wouldn't agree that industry can oftentimes damage the environment. So I think I want this to almost be growing up out of the ceiling. We'll, of course, texture all of this. And as it does so, almost polluting everything else. Maybe making it to where this has somehow affected the other villages. But that will come with time. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and make a shulker unloader here. And I'm recording this a fair bit after it actually happened. See, I was making this video, well, this video right here, but I realized that my last clip, which was the clip explaining all of this, didn't have any audio. I think I must have not put any... must have not turned on my microphone. Don't know how I managed that. But we're going to go in here and explain all of this. Obviously, it needs to have a lot of texture still, but this is the vibe that I'm wanting. Basically, this is almost going to be exploding out of the top, out into the rest. And then this, of course, is my shulker box unloader. It's a very interesting system. I had a hard time with it because I was trying not to use any other resources. I just wanted to figure it out myself. And this is what I figured out. So basically how this works is it detects that there's something in the box. And then if you'll notice, this guy has a few tick delay. So this torch up here gets powered first. Well, this one gets depowered, which then powers up this guy here, if I can get there, which then powers this one and locks this repeater at having a 0 signal strength. So by the time this one gets powered, it can't really do anything. All right. Now, when the shulker box gets unloaded and it's not showing anything at all, because this has the delay, this one stays powered for a little bit longer than this one. So it unlocks this first, powers this, and then this unloads the shulker box and puts it into the system. And then of course we've got this little circuit here to push them out and another circuit down there. And so that's kind of how this is going to, how that works. But how I want this whole thing to be, you'll notice I've done a fair bit of work here, is I want it, basically the green stuff, to come flowing out. I want this to be the cause of everything. And I just think it'd be aesthetically quite interesting, and I believe this is going to be where my mountain ends. There'll probably be a little dock out here, maybe some runoff into the ocean. Basically just all bad stuff for the environment. But I want it to look interesting because it's almost as if they're retrofitting this, monument for industrial use, which, you never really want to do, but that's what they're doing. But I think that's actually about all the time that I have left. As you can see, this is starting to get all filled up with basically everything that I need. And so it's just going to take a lot of AFK time, a lot of slowly building up my reserves before I can completely finish the project. But once again, thank you so much for watching. My name is Roach. If you liked it, feel free to subscribe. If you didn't, well, let me know what I can do better. Either way, let me know what I can do better. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.